Good morning. Back for another ep of Cappy Hour. Squeezing one in this morning before work. Just trying to keep the momentum going. It's so funny. I used to have so much time on my hands because I was such a lifestyle girl, and now I'm a work girl. So I have to, well, I'm choosing to fit in these things that I know are good for the soul. So let's take it away. Today I'm going to be chatting a little bit about some things I've been learning lately. We get it, it's the common theme. I'm going to start off with how important I find considered communication to be, and it's something that I've been learning about so much. I feel like I knew it so much on an intellectual level, and then I kind of had to start getting out there and start actioning it and seeing it in the flesh, because it's quite easy to know things up here, but then when it comes to the practice, the theory's a little bit easier. So I really want to stress the importance of open communication, just in all relationships, romantic or platonic, families, all of the above. Firstly, the reason why we fear speaking our truth is often because open communication means obviously vulnerability, which means potential for rejection, which then means potential to feel feelings of shame, which is, I don't think, an emotion and a feeling that people run towards. Personally, one of my most disliked ones, but we have to feel it. So I feel like that's the reason why we really don't like run towards it, unless we're taught early on to just voice our truths and things like that. But yeah, I know that I have been one in the past who hasn't headed towards it necessarily. I mean, I've been open to having tough conversations, but I feel like I've been more just like, let's just keep the peace. Like, I'll just work on my shit, and hopefully working on my thing is like a domino effect or whatever. But honestly, it was just a cop out for me anyway, just fearing experiencing shame. So the thing about holding it all in and not speaking up about it that isn't ideal, often it has the tendency to come out sideways. So the root, your actual issue, you're not going to speak up about, and it's just going to come out in sneaky ways and like sneaky little stabs at the person that you have beef with. So I feel like something that I've been doing, which has been very fruitful, very scary as well, but I feel like the thing that you want lies on the other side of fear. So if you want peace, you've got to go through chaos. So, something I've been doing recently before going into tough conversations is setting the intention of wanting more closeness, and also just wanting to understand the other person, because I feel like when you're kind of starting these conversations, you have to realize that there's going to be two truths. It's like, I'm not right, they're not right. You have to be able to hold both. So, infusing the conversation with lightness and just the intention of being like, let's work together on this, is just so beneficial. If you go into it with blame and pointing fingers, it's not going to disarm the person, and they're not going to feel like you want to work together with them. So something that women do is we create this, like, in relationship, we create a petty offense file. So every time our partner does something that pisses us off, we don't really speak up about it. We just kind of put it in this file, put it in this file. He did this. And then after a while, you probably get your period or whatever, you're feeling a bit more sensitive, and you crack. And everything kind of just comes up to the surface. And then your partner will just be like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, and oftentimes they'll be like, you can just talk to me about things as they come up, instead of just compiling this big mound of issues and coming at me with it. So yeah, I feel like it's really cool to do the thing where you have the calm conversation, you don't leave your partner guessing, and you don't overcomplicate the conversation. You can very simply and concisely and almost stoically bring your, not your argument, but your woe, the thing that you're pressed on. You can just bring it to the surface and just have like an air of curiosity about you as you bring it, instead of being like, you this, you that, because that's not really gonna promote closeness, I don't think. Well, it hasn't for me in the past. And I've definitely gone into conversations, tougher ones, with an air of righteousness, or, yeah, just like fired up. So something else I wanted to talk about is something that it took me a little while to understand, is that life is all about action. And I feel like as you take action, things fall into place. And I think a lot of the time we get kind of caught up in thinking maybe, I'll manifest this and then it'll come to me. And if I just keep thinking, it'll happen. But I think where I stumbled was not taking the action alongside of that belief. So it's like, we got to wire the brains to really believe. That's really, really important. But it's like, how much quicker are you going to get the thing if you start taking action? So yes, thoughts create reality. It's all neuroscience. We got to think that we're going to be rich, and that we're going to have heaps of love, and you got to, feel the feeling, feel the richness before you actually are, feel the feelings of love before you're actually in love. If you want to find a boyfriend, you've got to harness that love within yourself and then treat yourself like you would if you were in a relo, and then it'll come. I can say this now, which is really fucking cool. For so long, I've always just really wanted a deep love. I think we all do. A lot of us have shame around admitting that we want to be loved and that we want to be in a partnership. I did for ages. I was like, I'm too independent for that shit. Not really. I fucking wanted it. And now I got it. And it tastes so sweet. And it's so cool to just work alongside someone who is also a strong figure to create. But yeah, that was such a big manifestation for me. It's funny with like money, for example. I feel like I've always been like, I've been so lifestyle based. So I wanted to just work a little bit, but I always just wanted to have time for myself and my health and like all of these things. I just thought, how would I do if I was working 5 days a week? Like, how do these people do it? Like, how do you balance it all? But then I just realized that, I really funnily understood that term, money is energy. I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, okay, it makes sense. You have to expel energy to make that money. You have to work to save. And then, I feel like doors open as you take that action. Maybe doing things that you don't necessarily really want to do, but you know that it's important to do at some certain phases of your life if you want to build something. But I'm not going to be somebody who moves through life doing too many things that I don't like doing. But yeah, I think recently I've been going towards a few things that I haven't really necessarily wanted to do. And then I've been surprised by how much joy and like little glimmers I've been feeling from going towards that thing. For me, it's getting a job. For somebody else, it was just like such a roller coaster getting over the fact that I wasn't going to have full freedom over my work weeks. And then I got this job and they're like, work from home. As long as you have stuff to show, we don't really mind what you're doing. It just goes to show that, I was pretty intentional with what sort of work I wanted, and I decided, this is how I'd like it to look. And then all of a sudden, landed like the most ideal situation. So just goes to show, you take those actions, you believe, and then bing bada boom, things just flow. So yeah, I think the reason why we get a little bit caught up in more of the right brain vibe, which is like the feeling and the trusting and the intuitive nature, because it's like I think it's a little bit harder taking action than it is to just believe in a way. Sometimes it's like on the days where I ain't feeling like taking no action. It's like you still have to do the 5-second rule to get up and go. Let's get it. Action means doing, it means spending, it means asking, it means getting rejected, and it means putting yourself out there heaps. And yeah, that builds resilience, which is the grit that our paths are built on. So yeah, I think if you're sitting in a place where you're kind of waiting, it's like maybe ask yourself, like, what small little actions could I take to get a little closer to my goal? And with that, having grace, because we're all just learning and we all just need more softness. I think having grace and curiosity in life, infusing every day with it, just makes life funner and just much lighter. That's the goey. I wanted to talk a little bit about negative opinions. Because this is so funny. I feel like I'm somebody who, I'm pretty honest. I like to think that I'm an honest person. I have positive opinions about people. I have negative opinions about people, but I'm human. I think a lot of people don't want to admit that we have negative thoughts, but it's just like, I can fucking love someone, love the shit out of them, love everything, love just like, you know, but I can still have negative thoughts about them because we all do. It's the way we're wired. And don't tell me you're exempt, because yeah, you is lying. It's like you know, you can't control some of your thoughts. So it's like people will have opinions, let them. People are going to have opinions no matter what, which you would have probably seen from your family when you're saying like, I want to leave school and go traveling, and they're like, why don't you go to uni or whatever. You know, they're always going to have that opinion. And I think a lot of people fall into the thing of saying, I'm going to do this because it'll keep my parents quiet. I did it, studied psychology and criminology, studied fucking graphic design just because I didn't want to have the conversation on what I was doing. And what did I do? Just wasted money, didn't like the courses. And in the end, I just thought to myself, like, I can't stand this pressure from my parents. So it turns out I'm going to take that pressure away because I have power over that. And then I'm just going to do exactly what I want to do, you know? Because we can all do that. It's like mummy and daddy, they can call the shots when you're younger, and that's their job, and we love them for it. But when we get a little older, we can start making the calls. So yeah, I think it's cool in a way. I've been reading this really good book, which you guys probably have seen, called Let Them. And it's basically just about letting people think whatever the fuck they want about you, and just being like, cool. And then also honoring yourself in that, being like, let them have their opinions, and just like, let me soar. And just like, let me stay in my power, because like, why give it away? When you let people fuck with your peace, you surrender your power to the shit that doesn't matter or that is beyond your control. So yeah, I like the idea that you get to decide what stresses you out and for how long, because we're all going to move through life and we're all going to be tested. Uh, but yeah, I think I was saying before, like, you can't control the emotions that rise up within you, but you can learn to emotionally regulate, and you can learn to reset. We move through life, we experience little stresses, little triggers, little hurdles. This bill's coming from there, and it's like somebody wants something from there, and it can be a lot. And I find that these tips and tricks to reset the body have been super helpful. I think maybe I'll do maybe some like little tutorials or something like that on some cool little nervous system reset exercises. Yeah, if you want right now to research it, it's just like body shakes and just resetting the pace, like moving your body around, little stretch, like conscious breathing, things like that, that you can just do to regulate the nervous system after a bit of a stressful moment or time. I think we all need nervous system support, literally all need it. So yeah, I think the idea of that is we don't want our emotions to completely rule us, like we don't want our head to completely rule us. So I've gone from being like so head based, listening to everything in my mind, and then being so feelings based. And you know, they say women are more feeling, men are more thinking. It's just like we both have feminine, we both have masculine, and it's like I think we're constantly swinging the pendulum, constantly. So it's like, yeah, we're all, I think, deep down emotional beings. I think that's the core of us. But yeah, if we let our emotions completely rule and govern our lives, it could be a little bit of a halt. It could slow us down a little bit, you know? But I love feeling my emotions. I love having a good cry. I love it all. But yeah, I think that's where balancing the head and the heart is good. You know, you can pull yourself out of like sitting and suffering in certain emotions with the head. So yeah, the power comes from keeping your reactions in check, because fuck, we all get triggered. We all want to say something, just like fuck, say something impulsively, and then I don't know, there's nothing worse, I feel, than saying something impulsively and being like, shit, I regret the fuck out of that. So that's something else I've been doing when I've also been feeling heightened emotions or more just like reactive. I've just been like, yo, I'm feeling a little bit ragey right now. Can sound crazy, but being like, I just don't want to say anything that I'm going to regret. So can we have this conversation a bit later, or just like after I cool down? Because, you know, we all fucking have rage within us. We all experience anger. It's not just dudes. And under all of, I find, for me anyway, under my anger is just sadness anyway. So yeah, keeping the reactions in check, witnessing and choosing that every moment, choosing in every moment to just rise above, which is, yeah, let's be rising above. Let's use our power well. I love the idea of using the power well. We all have it. So yeah, let's roll. Touching back, moving back into the power conversation, I think I see a bit of a common theme of people giving their power away to, you know, the government or parents or friends or whatever. You let people dictate the way your life's going to look. And, you know, I've talked about this a bit, but I'm not going to be able to afford a house because everything's so expensive. And you just get so locked into that. And then, wow, boom, your power, it's gone. Instead of just being like, hey, how can I find a way to make this happen? Because if you're believing it in your head, you know, it's robotic at the start. It's robotic at the start. It's robotic at the start. And then, you know, after 2 years of telling yourself, hey, I'm going to own a house, you're getting closer. After 3 years of telling yourself, and then bang, you add a bit of action. All right, I'm saving. I'm putting away $200 a week. Baby steps, but it's just like, as if you would let somebody else dictate such big things in your life, like what you're going to bring in. No, that's nobody else's thing, you know? I don't want to give my power away anymore. I just want to use it well. And I want also for everyone else to be able to harness their own, because we all have it. It's just a matter of spending time just getting curious about it, really. So I wanted to talk a little bit about stories, something that I've been dipping my toes into recently, being somebody who's quite mind-based, love thinking, love just like understanding, just love using my mind. I feel like being somebody of that nature means that I can get caught up into certain stories. We all have stories. We need stories to move through life. We need ego. But I think, yeah, it's cool in a way at the moment, detaching from a lot of the stories, a lot of the things that I believe in myself. And, you know, every day we have like thousands of random thoughts that come through. And a lot of the time they're the same as yesterday's thoughts. But yeah, I think disconnecting from stories is a really cool one, because a lot of the time it's just going to be some bullshit story that's rolling in your head because you're used to it. It's a story of, I'm undesirable, I don't have a nice body, never going to get the house, I'm never going to fall in love, I'm not capable, whatever the story is. It's like, I guess it becomes true if you, yeah, keep repeating it to yourself. It's like thoughts create reality. So I've been enjoying just like shifting my stories a little bit, and also just being a bit like, you know, when I notice something that's a bit self-deprecating, being like, yeah, I need to combat it. Yeah, I think stories are cool. They keep us safe. They keep us doing. They keep us moving forward. But they can also hold us back. So I think it's cool to do a bit of a, when you're, you know, a bit stirred up or whatever. If you're feeling a little bit mixed up in the head, there's just so much going on up there that you can't catch a break. It's cool to just do the list of, I am thinking these thoughts. Write them all down, even if it's scattered. Whatever the fuck it is, write it down. Write it like nobody was going to read it. Every single little bit. And just get it out, because it just creates space internally, I find. And yeah, sometimes I go absolutely wild in my head. Like I get so lost, and then I'm like, bring it on back, which takes me to breath again, which I talk about on every second episode. Breath, so important, like so important. So if you're moving through life and not breathing, please breathe. Please breathe. And also please stretch. Because, yeah, stretching's another one that feels almost just as important as breath. I feel like we move through our days and we store certain things in our bodies. You know, we get tight, we sit at the computer all day or whatever, or, you know, we have a tense situation and our body locks up. It's like it's going to store somewhere. So, yeah, something that I fucking love is just stretching and exercise daily. I think it just sets the tone for life. It just, yeah, you're appreciating your body, you're doing it for your mind, in turn, bettering yourself, bettering the collective, more to give. It's the best. And with exercise, I find I first rolled into the gym when I was younger, but first started going probably when I was 19. Hated it so much. And probably because I was thicker and just like really uncomfortable in myself and not healthy. So I feel like I hated it so much. And then I did it so much that it became a non negotiable. So yeah, that's cool. And then you just slowly begin to love it when you find the exercise that is in line with you. So I love that. Uh, Touching back on feminine and masculine polarities, because I feel like people like this and I like it too. I wanted to talk about how the feminine is like the right brain and the masculine is the left brain. The feminine is, as I said before, the flowy, the intuitive. That's, you know, when you're writing, when you're creating, when you're just slowly like floating from A to B. Yeah, so like masculine properties are more like of the doing and the problem solving, etc. I think in life, one of the biggest and trickiest things is just balance in general because, you know, we're always swinging. Something that I've been enjoying is going really hard into masculine for doing, and then, you know, having a bit of a transition period as I go into the feminine, and then just trying to just, yeah, swing the seesaw, but just like not too intensely so I fucking turn into a dude or go so far into the feminine where I just sit back with my feet up eating grapes. It's like we need them both. We really do. So someone who swings more masculine, an example can be somebody who's just never feeling anything. They're just so stoic and they're just so fucking logical that there's no room for any feeling. And then someone who swings way more feminine is probably going to be somebody who is just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work. I'm just going to stay in my van and just chill and create and stuff, which is epic. Don't get me wrong. Love it and no judgment to people who want to live that lifestyle. But I think if you've just got that feminine where you're not doing and actioning and using the logical mind, I think it's a bit of a hindrance to your life personally. With a good balance between the two, you're bloody on. But you see it a lot in the van lifers. They get caught up more in the being, which is super important. Love being, but yeah, I don't know. Feel like if you neglect doing or you neglect being, you're just kind of at a loss. So yeah, keeping those in check is really good. I wanted to talk a little bit about one last thing because I've noticed this, I feel, a little collectively, which is people seem to be building better habits this year, or maybe it's just in my age group, but a lot of people are kind of doing the hard thing and being like, all right, these are my new rules, or going sober for a year, or I'm going to run a marathon or whatever. Everyone's just got these big goals, which I reckon is super cool. Personally, I've got some of my own, and I think we all know here that I guess my outlet, don't really have many, but my outlet is weed, which I love. I've been over the last couple of years just trying to balance it out because personally I think that balancing your relationship with a substance is a lot harder than eliminating it completely. So I feel like I've been doing really well with balancing my consumption and just being more mindful around it. But yeah, I think it's really cool to see a lot of people getting at it and just doing the hard thing and yeah, exercising more will because yeah, I think in the past, which we've all done it, you swing super hard one way and you just go, nah, I'm not having it at all. Fuck it, close that shop. Nah, nah, nah. And then there is potential that you're going to swing the other way when you come out. Like, I think we've probably all done it with diet. You go perfection on your diet, super just like in control, and then something slips, maybe you have a sad day, and then you just like, bang, I'm going to eat everything. And I guess that's just, you know, if you have a bit of an emotional eating thing, which if you're human, maybe you do. It's comforting, it's dopamine, like feels pretty easy to me, you know, to go towards food for comfort. But yeah, I think that's yeah, my tip for the year, which again, polarities, two sides to everything, is balance. I want to be able to do the thing and then pause the chuff and not have it, and then, you know, start it up again and just be more conscious around it, which is, yeah, something that has been benefiting me greatly. And, you know, I find that the more proud I feel of myself, the less things touch me, the less outside opinions touch me. Just in my own lane, and I'm feeling good about the decisions that I'm making for me. It's like, my mum doesn't like weed. She doesn't want me to smoke. My brother's really not, yeah, you know, he's a really supportive dude, but he's just not really pro. And a lot of my friends just don't understand. So it's just like a lot of them are going to have their opinions and they're going to say what they want to say. But then, you know, you just got to sit in your own little lane and be like, sweet, what works for me? And for me, it turns out in this phase of my life, it's balancing it because I ain't getting rid of it right now because it brings me too much goodness. But yeah, just it's about mindfulness there. So yeah, that's my other tip is the more pride you can harness within yourself over the moves that you're making and the will that you're exercising, I feel like the more contentment you can feel, which is something that I wanted more of this year. Instead of being like, oh, I want happiness, I want it so bad, I want these positive emotions. I just wanted to just, you know, be in a more just consistent flow with it all. Feel your highs, feel your lows, sit in the middle, just, you know, that feels like life. It feels just like, yeah, like a river. We go up, we go down, we flow, we go around. It just feels like a constant cycle of death and rebirth, the whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Life's fucking good. Feeling focused, surrounded by incredible humans, and yeah, gosh, I didn't really know it could be like this. So it's pretty epic to bear some fruits and yeah, be able to share certain things and learn from everyone around me. It's just fucking so heartwarming. Thanks so much for listening, watching, and being a part of this little community. It warms my heart deeply.